Beautiful, baby, beautiful. Keep taking pictures. After starring in Deep Throat and becoming a household name, you'd think life would be pretty good for Linda Lovelace. Not quite. This is Lovelace.
Does she even know what she's auditioning for?
She's adorable, but we traffic in fantasy here. You know, more pizzazz.
I want to show you this movie we made.
Oh, are you actually doing that? And action.
We're all gonna win Oscars.
The pornographic film Deep Throat has become one of the most popular movies of all time.
I don't know much about Linda Lovelace, but I was looking forward to this film primarily because of the cast, specifically Amanda Seyfried, who looked very different, very sort of out of her element. It looked like a performance that could have been really fantastic, and so I was definitely drawn in by that, as well as the rest of the cast, a lot of other great people in there as well. And I have to say, I did enjoy Lovelace, but I do think that it is indeed because of the cast more than anything else. The film moves at a very fast pace, sometimes a little bit too fast to really be able to get into it enough, and it does have some interesting elements to it, the way it sort of doubles back on itself, which I'll get into in a moment, but I really do think the primary reason I enjoyed it is because of the cast, because without some of these great performances in the movie, it is a bit of a been there, done that situation, even though it is, of course, based on the true story of Linda Lovelace. Now let's get a little more into Lovelace, starting off with the plot and the writing, which, like I said, first up, of course, it is based on the true story of Linda Lovelace, so to a point, even if there was stuff that I just couldn't get into, such as why she just kept staying in this situation, it was real. So, I mean, even if I can't get into it, it did happen. And it does get driven home a bit at the end, you know, the whole mom-daughter relationship sort of kept her where she was. I get that, but at the same time, it was hard for me to relate, I guess you could say, which, you know, I mean, I guess it's hard for a lot of people to relate specifically to her situation, but you get what I mean. The movie really moved along quickly, and that was good in a way, but also it was hard to really grasp onto what was happening because as soon as you did, it was like, oh, 6 months later, 6 years later, who knows where we are in time. The most interesting part of it is the fact that it sort of doubled back on itself. It showed one part of the life that she was living, and then it went and showed the other part of the same thing we just watched, and at first I didn't like it. I thought, oh man, this is so obvious. But then I started to like it more as it became a little bit more interesting and a little bit more surprising, you know, things that were going on in the background that you didn't even realize were going on. And so I thought that was kind of cool. It did start off rocky, but it definitely got better, and so I would say in general it was an interesting choice. And even though I said it was a bit hard to relate and a bit hard to get emotionally invested because of that, I did definitely connect with one scene, not to spoil anything, but when she's on the phone with her father, that scene definitely stood out to me. I thought it was really, really well done. And speaking of well done, I do think the directing was very well done because the movie felt, honestly, like it was shot in the 70s. I was shocked, I was amazed, it looked unbelievable. But nothing is more unbelievable than how unrecognizable so much of the cast was. Now, I'm not going to get into everybody, but I thought that everybody in the cast did a really, really great job. I'm going to focus specifically on the two leads. We've got Amanda Seyfried and Peter Sarsgaard. First off, Amanda Seyfried, like I said, I was really drawn in because of her. I thought she looked great, and I have to say, I thought she did a fantastic job. Very, very vulnerable. I really felt, even though I couldn't relate, I was able to feel that sort of vulnerability, that pain, I guess, in certain scenes, if you will. And so I definitely understood that, and I got that, but even better than Amanda Seyfried, I think, was Peter Sarsgaard. As great as she was, not to discredit her at all, he blew it out of the park. I thought that he was phenomenal, and he really stole the show, I think. He made this movie more than it would have been. Like I said, I do think the cast elevated it above the material and above everything else. So I have to say, the two of them together, amazing on their own, both amazing as well. And like I said, I'm not going to get into everybody else, but I thought the rest of the cast did a great, great job. And I do think the cast was the main reason I enjoyed it, but I did overall enjoy Lovelace. But I would like to know what you thought of Lovelace, so please let me know down in the comments. What did you think? Do you know anything about Linda Lovelace? How did this compare to your knowledge of this woman? What did you think of the cast? Do you agree with me that the movie would have been a little bit been there, done that, regardless of the fact that it's a true story, if it weren't for the cast? Let me know what you thought of that overlapping thing where the movie sort of doubled back on itself and showed you things you hadn't seen before. Like I said, at first I didn't like it, but then eventually I did. Let me know anything that you want about Lovelace, and that's pretty much it.
Man, I feel free.